Hello, friends. Happy Tuesday. It's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gersa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And today I have a little bit of a hoarse voice, so I'm going to apologize if I'm clearing my throat. I've got some water here. I'm just going to give you that heads up right off the top. But today I am all about the Modern Christmas Suite, which is a Stampin' Up! Online exclusive product. Now, I was all set to move on past Christmas into the spring and Valentine's and all of those things this week. However, I realized that I had neglected to feature this beautiful suite, and I have some fun project ideas to share with you. So I didn't want to sort of pass it over in favor of moving on to new things. I do have to say I am ready to be done with Christmas cards, though. So if you're like me and you're kind of at the tail end of your Christmas card production, you may be like, okay, enough already. But I'm sharing these ideas just in case you have this suite in your stash and you need some ideas for it. So we're going to make 3 cards today. I'm going to show you all the projects in this or products in the suite, and then I'll share a few more additional projects. Oh my goodness, product and project. I'm having a hard time with those 2 words today. If you are joining me, whether you're catching me live here or watching the replay, please let me know you're here. I'm just going to see if I can turn the volume down. There we go. I was getting a really bad echo from my phone. I hope that wasn't coming through. So I'm going to flip to my desk. While I am doing that, certainly let me know you're here. I'm going to show you the products in the suite, and then we will get to some crafting. So here we go. All right. Modern Christmas. It's a beautiful suite. It is very elegant. It is, for me, I think the reason that I had kind of neglected to feature it is because I like color at Christmas time, and I found the black and white a little bit too stark. Now, the gold certainly does dress it up. However, I just felt like I needed a little something more. So I've come up with some projects that I think, if you are like me and you're kind of like, it's a little too plain for your liking, I'm hoping that these projects will change your mind about the suite. All right, so let me show you the products. So we'll start with the Ornamental Christmas Bundle. I have to say, this Merry Christmas sentiment may well be my favorite Merry Christmas sentiment we've ever had. It's a nice big sentiment. I love the font. I love that it's stacked rather than straight across. I find that more versatile. So I just absolutely love that, that Merry Christmas. So then we've got a couple of trees. We've got a couple of additional sentiments, and then some garland and a star. And then, of course, we've got our dies. Now, the open dies cut out the trees. And this one is just an ornament. We can make our own ornament. And this circle, actually, it'll fit our sentiment, but it can also become an ornament when you add an ornament topper. So included in the die set are 2 ornament toppers, which also can serve as a pot for your Christmas tree. You're going to see that on one of the projects today. We have this beautiful star, and then we've got some additional dies to dress up our ornaments. So that is the bundle, the Ornamental Christmas Bundle. And then we have this gorgeous paper. Now, this paper is, whoops, I just realized here we go. We've got gold foil on one side and just black and white on the other. So the nice thing about black and white is that you can add color really easily, and you're going to see me do that today. But there are some beautiful patterns. This, I think, may be my favorite from this pack. I love the stars. You're going to see it on 2 projects today. These stripes, I find the stripes a little bit overwhelming, but again, I'm going to show you a trick for using this, and it actually ends up looking pretty great. So you can tell me what you think when I'm done. I love this pattern. This is my second favorite pattern too. It reminds me a little bit of like 1960s, 70s kind of retro. And then we've got these cute trees, which are great for punching or fussy cutting. We've got some ornaments. Again, I found the gold on this a little bit overwhelming, but I'm going to show you a couple tricks for how to tone that down a little bit. And then we have some mistletoe, which can be colored really easily. And then on the back side, we have all sorts of black and white patterns. So this fa la la is also a favorite of mine. I love it. We have a plaid. We have polka dots. We've got some squiggles. We've got some dashes. And we've got some trees. So lots of really great neutral patterns that will carry you well beyond the holidays. I mean, plaid, dots, and squiggles can be used for pretty much anything. So it's, again, a great paper pack. And then, of course, we've got some embellishments. We've got our white and black and gold trim. This is it's a baker's twine. Yes, they're calling it baker's twine, but it's not cotton based. It's actually polypropylene, which makes it quite stretchy and easy to use. This is probably my favorite twine we've ever carried. And then we have these gold hoops. Now, I just actually got these. I hadn't purchased them because I thought I had something similar, but the ones that I have are quite a bit thicker. These are actually quite fine, and they work really nicely on a card front. They can also be used to create your own ornaments as well. Okay, so these measure about 3.5 inches across. They're nice and big. And you get 10 in a pack. All right. That is the suite. Let's see who's joining. And we will get to it. So we've got Terry. Hi. Hi, Doris. Hi, Suzanne from Wisconsin. Hi, Susan from Florida. Hi, Joyce. Welcome. Thank you for sharing, Doris. I appreciate it. Hi, Julia from Niagara Falls. And Gail and Janet from Alberta. We're getting some snow here later this week, I think. Felicia, welcome. Diane, welcome, welcome. Vicki, you're joining me live. Well, it's nice to see you. Hi, Jeannie K, welcome. Hi, Laura. Hi, Deborah from Sydney, Australia. Hi, Julie. All right, let's get to it. So our first project is this one. I posted this earlier today. So again, I decided to add a pop of color, and this certainly does have, well, lots of pops of color, but I just think it's such a happy, cheerful card. So let me show you how to put this one together. It's pretty straightforward. This was actually one of the projects from my card buffet that I held last week. So to start, I have a 4 by 5.25 inch piece of Granny Apple Green cardstock, and it is embossed using the Christmas Messages embossing folder. Okay, so we've got all of our little Christmas greetings there. And then I have a piece of shaded spruce and gold ribbon. We're going to lay that pretty much across the middle of our card front here. So I'm just going to take a little bit of seal just to kind of tack my ribbon in place so it doesn't slide around as I am securing it to the back side. So that's kind of tacked in place. And now I'm going to flip this over and add some seal on either end. And then just wrap my ribbon around to secure it to the back. Okay, that gives us a nice clean edge rather than trimming it flush with the edge of the cardstock, which will leave us with frayed edges. Now I am going to slide this over because that's not straight. There we go. That's better. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and layer this on a 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 piece of Poppy Parade. I love the combination of shaded spruce, Granny Apple Green, and Poppy Parade for Christmas. I think it's just a really fun, cheerful, sort of fresh take on Christmas red and green. So we'll add a little bit of glue, and we're going to pop this on to our mat, just like that. And then we're actually going to put this right onto our card base. So our card base is shaded spruce. It's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. So we'll fold that in half along our score line. Hi, Carla. Welcome. Hi, Betty. Hi, Linda. Welcome. You're making supper. I have supper in the crock pot. We're having Swedish meatballs, and there's mashed potato. Well, potatoes boiling on the stove. I'm hoping they don't boil over because there's nobody home to clean up the mess if they do. So, well, we'll see what happens by the time I'm done my live here. All right, so we've got our card foundation essentially done. Now we're going to work on our focal images. So we're going to start by layering a die cut J and a die cut Y. So I've got one set cut from Poppy Parade cardstock, and I've embossed it using the Forever Plaid embossing folder. And then I have a second set cut from black cardstock, and we're just going to offset that a little bit. We're going to layer them just to give it a little bit of a pop and give a bit of a shadow behind. Now these large letters are cut using the Party Alphabet dies. They are huge. It's a huge die set. It actually fills 2 of my cases that I use to store my dies. But they are so much fun and super versatile. They're great for scrapbooking as well. They're nice and big. So just layering these up. And I'm going to just kind of set them on my card front here for a moment, just to get an idea for spacing. I do have to leave a fair bit of room for my ornament here. My ornament is going to form the O. So I've got a die cut ornament that I've die cut from the ornamental Christmas? No. Modern Christmas. I just saw the Grinch, and that you threw me off there, Felicia. Yes, it does remind me of the Grinch. That's true. You're absolutely right. It's Grinch colors for sure. So I've die cut my ornament from the Ornamental Christmas, Modern Christmas DSP. And now I'm looking for my ornament topper. Where are you, ornament topper? Did I forget to cut one? Well, that's not good. I'm sure I cut one. I'm going to steal one out of another package. We'll just be robbing from Peter to pay Paul for now, but we'll cut another one in a moment. So I've got my little ornament topper here. I'm going to adhere it to the top of my die cut ornament. And then I'm going to add my little fussy cut trees. These are just fussy cut from the DSP. And I'm actually going to use some black dimensionals. I don't use them very often, but this whole suite is perfect for using black dimensionals. So you're going to see lots of them today. So I'm going to adhere my trees to my ornament. And then I have some little die cut pine branches here. This is cut from using the branching out dies. And I wanted to bring in just a little hint of the shaded spruce because I've only got the shaded spruce on my base and my ribbon there. So I wanted to just accent these little pine needles with a little bit of shaded spruce. So I'm going to come in with my ink and a blending brush. And we're just going to add a little hint of shaded spruce to our pine needles, just sort of the ends of the pine needles. Now it looks really grinchy. There we go. 2 shades of green. All right. Get that out of the way. Now I'm going to trim these off. I really only need the branch. I don't need any of the, I only need the needles. I don't need any of the branch because we are going to adhere them to the top of our ornament. So I'm going to grab a glue dot and we're just going to sort of crisscross them like that. And then that is going to get adhered to the top of my ornament. I probably could have gotten away without the ornament topper on this one, but that's okay. We will eventually cut one. All right, so there's my ornament. I will add my bow later. But now I'm going to bring back my pieces that I unceremoniously dumped when I was looking for my ornament topper. And we're just going to arrange our letters. I really kind of want them centered on my card front. That looks not bad. And then I'm going to come in again with some black dimensionals. Now these are on sale. I don't know if they're sold out yet. A lot of the Black Friday selection has sold out already. These were on sale for Black Friday. I'm not sure if they're still available. What I like about the black dimensionals is you get both large and small dimensionals in the pack. One-stop shopping. So there's my J. And then we'll do our Y. I'm just going to trim my border here because I don't have much left of these big ones. There we go. We'll get rid of those backings. And then pop that on. And again, we want to try and keep them straight across. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it. Doesn't need to be perfect. And then finally, we will add a couple of dimensionals to the back of our ornament. And I'm going to grab a mini for the top of the ornament. There we go. And we'll pop that on. And I'm just kind of keeping an eye on it. Again, I want it to be centered between my J and my Y. Right about there. And then I've got just a little scrap of twine here. This was the tail end of a roll. I'm going to just tie myself a little bow with my twine. My hands are freezing. My fingers don't want to cooperate. I had to drive my son to an appointment and it is damp and, well, it's not super cold, but it's just damp and yucky and gray outside, which makes me feel cold, even colder. All right. So there's our little bow. I will trim the tails. And then I need a little glue dot. And we are going to Just roll that into a little glue booger. I'm going to put that right where my pine needles crisscross there. And I'm just going to press the knot of my bow into the glue dot. There we go. Okay, and then our last touch on this one is to add some low profile dots. Now, this is my very last of them. I think these have actually sold out. They were on Last Chance, so they may be gone by now. What I love about these is that they're nice and flat, so they mail really easily, which is always a consideration for Christmas cards. But there you go. Quick and easy, bright and cheery. Now on the inside of this one, I added a strip of the same DSP that I cut the ornament from, and then stamped a sentiment. Oh, we forgot our wishing you. Huh. Almost forgot the rest of our sentiment. So we could just do joy, but we are going to add wishing you. Now, this is a new punch that is actually also sold out right now. It's coming back after Christmas, I believe. It's called the 3 banner punch, and you get 3 different banner shapes all in one punch. Now I want my wishing you to go this way. I wasn't thinking too clearly when I stamped this. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna make ourselves a little reachy piece. So what I'm going to do is take my, that wasn't smartly, now we're going in from the other end. I'm going to take a little strip. This is what you do when you cut your piece too small. And then I can slide my piece in and maneuver it to get it centered in my punch, maybe. The other thing that I can do is take my blue goo in. There are lots of little tricks and strategies for this. There we go. We're going to pinch that and give it a punch. And then we have our little banner somewhere. There it is. Stuck to the other bits that we popped out. Okay, so this one is going to just run right across there like that. Again, a mini dimensional will hold it on the one end. So I'm going to put it right beside the letter J. And then a little bit of seal across my banner. And that is going to run across just like that. There we go. Now the card is finished. All right. Glad you like that one. I know, Joyce, I'm the same. I am so over Christmas cards, but again, they're my favorite kind of cards to make, but like I said, I've been doing them since, well, July. I'm ready to be done. All right. Our next card is another one that I've added some color. So I'm going to show you how to add color to the DSP to turn that white and gold sort of busy pattern into something a little less busy. Okay. So let me show you what I've got here. So I've got some of that ornament paper, and I'm going to show you how easy it is. Let me just grab a tissue here. Forgot my tissue. I'm going to show you how easy it is to color these ornaments. So all I did, literally all I did, is I took my ink pad. You can do this in any color. This is Poppy Parade, but you can do it in any color. And I literally just dragged it across my DSP. Like direct to paper, no ink blending, nothing fancy. Okay, now it's messy, but what we're going to do now is take our tissue and we're going to wipe all that excess ink off. So the gold foil resists the ink, and you're left with beautifully colored ornaments. Isn't that amazing? Such an easy way to add color and to sort of tone down some of that, for me, that very bright contrast between the white and the gold. Okay, so that's how I created the ornaments and, well, yeah, the ornaments for this card. So let me show you how to put this one together. It's pretty straightforward, but I thought that was kind of a neat little trick. And that may help some of you who maybe find this paper a little bit overwhelming. All right, so again, we're starting with a piece of this gorgeous DSP. This is 4 by 5 1/4 inches. And then I have a 2 by 5 1/4 inch piece of white cardstock on which I've stamped and heat embossed that sort of garland image from the stamp set. And we're going to go ahead and glue this onto our DSP about 3/4 of an inch in from the left side. Okay, I am a big fan of not symmetrical. If you've been watching me for any length of time, you know that. If you are someone who likes symmetrical designs, then you certainly can center this piece on your card front. I like things a little off center. Not sure what that says about my personality, but you know. All right, I'm going to trim this. This is just a hair too long. I'll clean that up a bit. There we go. And then that is going to get layered onto a Poppy Parade mat. Again, 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So that's going to get layered just like that. There we go. And then that is going on a basic black card base, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. So we'll just fold that in half to form our card base. And then again, we're going to use a little liquid glue this time. And we'll pop this on. I love the framing, the black border that the card base gives. I think it just really makes that red pop. All right, so I have here several ornaments. This one I've die cut from the striped DSP. Again, I did the same trick with my ink pad. The striped DSP is, I'll show you, it's this one, right? And again, just a swipe of the ink pad and you've got color. Okay, really easy way to add color and again, tone down some of the contrast. All right, now I used my ornament toppers. I'm going to steal one from the last kit because the last one we can actually get away without the ornament topper. So I will add it later. All right, so I'm going to first add my ornament topper to the top of my large ornament here. So just a little bit of seal. And we'll pop that on. If I can get it to work. Why are my fingers so cold? They just do not want to cooperate. All right, so this one is going to get popped up centered. And then these guys are going to kind of hang in behind. Kind of like this. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Muted my mic a little bit too late, but I got rid of the worst of the coughing. Goodness me. Whew. All right, so let's pop up our large ornament here. Again, I'm going to use just what's left of my black dimensionals. Oh, goodness. Don't know what's up with me and the coughing. I really hope I'm not getting sick. That would not be good. All right, so there is our large ornament. And then we're going to go ahead and add the other. So this one's going to kind of tuck in behind. And then this guy's going to be up a little bit higher. So these little guys I just fussy cut from that DSP that I applied the red ink to. Okay. And I've got 3 little stars. So this is one of the dies in the die set. Cuts these little sort of retro looking stars. And I'm going to glue them onto my large ornament, sort of right across the middle. Now, the easiest way to do that is to take your glue dots. I'm just going to take and press each one of these onto a glue dot because I hate fussing with little dabs of liquid glue. You know that about me if you've watched again for any length of time. And I'm going to start in the middle, put my middle one on first, hopefully straight, and then do one on either side. So I'm kind of centering in on that center gold stripe there. There we go. Okay, now we have our sentiment. So this is heat embossing gold on white cardstock, and I used the traditional labels dies to cut that out. And now we're going to cover part of our stars that we just stuck down, but that's okay. I'm going to use white dimensionals for this one, mainly because I don't have any more black. At least not any handy. So we'll pop that on right about there. And then it's a matter of embellishing. So I thought I had my Black twine. Where did you go, black twine? You are somewhere. Where'd you go? There you are. Okay, so we are going to tie 3 little bows here. So we'll start with our large one. And now my twine is tangled up. I'm nearing the end of this roll, and it started slipping off the end of the spool and has gotten itself into a knot. There we go. Okay. So we'll tie 1. So this larger one is going to be for our larger ornament. And then 2 smaller ones for our smaller ornaments. Yes, Laura, I agree. I love the font in this set. I wish there were more sentiments in that font. There are 3, which is good, but I would love like about 6 or 7. I really love this font, which is why I'm so enamored with that Merry Christmas, because it's that same sort of fun scripty font. I'll tie a couple bitty bows here. Oh, my fingers. I'm hoping they warm up soon, because they do not want to cooperate. So chilly. All right. So let's adhere these. So I'm going to put sort of the medium-sized bow onto my medium-sized ornament. My bitty bow is going to go onto my bitty ornament. Come here, you little glue bar. And then my larger bow is going on my large ornament. Just like that. Let's trim the tails on this a little bit. There we go. And then our last touch are some gold sequins. Now these are loose sequins. So I'm going to show you a trick for using loose sequins on a card. I mean, you get so many in this pack. It's such great value to use these as embellishments on a card. I mean, they're great for shaker cards, but they're also really great to use as low cost, low profile embellishments on your cards. So all I've done is taken and put a little dab of glue wherever I want a sequin to go. And then I'm just going to come in and pick them up with the blue goo end of my take your pick. Let's make sure that's cup side down. And I'm just going to start sticking them down on those little dabs of glue that I laid down. It makes it super quick and easy to glue these. You don't get sticky fingers. And like I said, this is a really economical way to add bling without breaking the bank. I mean, 1 pack of these sequins, I think, has like 500 sequins in the pack. And they're, I don't know, I want to say $12, $13 here in Canada, which is really, really reasonable. All right, so there is our finished card. Now on the inside, I stamped that beautiful Merry Christmas and then fussy cut out another ornament to kind of have sitting at the bottom there. All right, so that is number 2. Got some straight ornaments here. And then our last card, I don't know that I would call this a fun fold, but I guess you could. This is a card that has the middle kind of cut out of it. So it stands up. When it stands up, you really see that focal image. But on the inside, we still have room to write and stamp a sentiment. So I'm going to show you how to do this one. It's really quite easy. But for those who have never done one like this before, I thought it might be a good idea to show you how it's done. So dump all my bits out here. So I'm starting with a 5.5 by 5.5 inch piece of thick basic white cardstock. Okay. It's important if you're using white cardstock for this that you use the thick, because you need the strength for this to stand up. Okay. If you use regular white, it won't stand up. Okay. So this is 5.5 by 5.5. I have scored at 4 1/4. So I'm first going to go ahead and fold along my score line. Burnish that really well. And you can see that's going to form the back and top portion of my card base. Okay. On that, we are going to layer a 1 by 5 1/4 inch piece of DSP and a 1 1/8 by 5 3/8 piece of gold foil. So we're going to just layer those and then layer that onto our top portion there. Now, whenever I'm working with foil, I am very hesitant to use liquid glue, because if you've ever had that glue schmear and tried to get it off of foil, you know how tricky it can be. So I try to avoid liquid glue at all costs when I am working with foil. Sometimes it's unavoidable, but if possible, I try to avoid it. So I've layered my pieces, and now I'm going to go ahead and layer that onto the top segment of my card base here. Okay, so you can see how that is going to form the top part of my card. Again, I'm going to burnish this really well because I want that to lie nice and flat. Okay, setting that aside for a moment, I have another piece of thick basic white cardstock. This is 1 by 5 1/2. Okay, so it is essentially going to form the bottom portion of our card base. All right, so again, we're going to layer some DSP and some foil. This time my DSP is 3/4 by 5 1/4, and my foil is 7/8 by 5 3/8. Lots of measurements to spit out on this one. Again, all of the measurements are in the video description. If you want to try recreating this card, you certainly are more than welcome to, and the measurements are all there for you. All right. Oh, almost forgot to put my twine on. Put this on a little bit prematurely, but that's okay. It's not too late. So we are going to add some twine along the top portion. I'm going to do this a little bit backwardly just because I've already got my seal on there. So I'm going to take some twine, run it across the front of my strip there, and then again add another glue dot to secure it. Where are my glue dots? There you are. So we'll just wrap that around. Now I can go ahead and adhere that to my white strip. There we go. And I am going to put a little glue dot right in the middle to keep that from sliding around. That's going to get covered eventually, but for now, we just want to make sure that that's going to stay where we want it. Okay, so that is going to form the bottom portion of our card base. All right. Okay, now let's work on our focal image. So I have to start a die cut piece of gold foil. This is cut using the Spotlight on Nature dies. And this is a stylish shapes circle cut from the Fa La La pattern. So this one is, what is this, 2 5/8. This one is 2 3/4. I think I said 2 1/2 on the in the video description. This is actually 2 3/4. So we're going to go ahead and layer those to start. Just like that. And then our tree is going to get popped up just like this. So you can see where I would have used my final ornament topper as the basket for my tree. I'm not going to worry about that right now because I used it on the other card. I can always add one later if I need to, but for now we'll just go without one. So I'm going to go ahead and add my star to the top of my tree just with the glue dot. And then that is going to get popped up again with some black dimensionals on my circle here. And I'm going to add a mini behind the star. And I'm also going to add a mini behind the trunk right there. All right. So we're going to adhere that sort of hanging off the edge of our circle there, just like that. Okay. Our Be Jolly, this is again heat embossing gold on black. This is a 1 1/4 inch circle, and then this is a 1 3/8. So we're going to layer them. Just like that. And then that is going to get adhered sort of to that top portion of our circle there. So a little bit of seal. and we'll tack that on. Again, this is going to be more secure when we add it to our card. And then our star is going to kind of be peeking out behind. It's going to be at a little bit of an angle. I'm not actually going to apply any adhesive to my circle because I don't want adhesive to be showing when I open my card. Okay, so I'm going to put just a little bit of seal and a glue dot on one of the points of my star. And then I'm going to adhere my circle kind of like that. Okay, so that's my focal image. Then I'm going to bring back my card base and I'm going to line up that bottom strip with the bottom edge of my card base. And you're going to see how that is going to get affixed to our card. Now I'm only going to put adhesive where the pieces overlap. So the easiest way to do that, again, is to kind of line it up where it's going to go. And then I'm going to come in. I'm not going to use liquid glue. I was so tempted to, but I'm not going to. I'm going to stick with my seal. I'm going to put a little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit there. Oops, that went where I did not want it to go. Thankfully, seal rubs off quite easily. And then we're going to flip this over. And I need to turn this around so I can see that it's straight. And we're going to adhere it to the front of our card, just like that. And then you have a card that opens. You see that? Isn't that neat? All right, now to finish our card, just because we need to stamp our sentiment on the inside, I have my beautiful Merry Christmas and my Memento black ink. So we'll ink this up. This is a nice new Memento pad. It's getting juicy. I treated myself to a new one recently. So we'll stamp our Merry Christmas, and that is going to be concealed when the card is closed. And then we're going to add, again, some really economical bling. These are the gold shaker stars. These are from, I think, the annual, or perhaps they're online exclusives. I can't remember. Again, I'm going to just dump a couple, as close to a couple as I can get, into the lid. And then we're going to add a few little guys. Oh, that's not stuck very well. Let's just make sure you are properly adhered. There you go. And I'm going to just add 1, 2, 3 little bitty dabs of glue. And then just as before, I'm going to take my glue goo end and drop these little bitty sequins onto my card. Now on my sample, I did some on the inside, but I'm going to let those set and I will add them later. I'll show you what it looks like on the inside in just 1 second. Get those back in the container without making a mess. So you can see I added a few little gold sequins on the inside as well. And then we're going to add a little bow because, you know, I'm me and I like my bows. So we'll add a bow. Trim our tails. And this one's just going to kind of tuck in at the bottom there. So another little glue bugger. We'll pop that on. Kind of where the twine and meets the circle there. And then we'll just press our knot into the glue. Trim our tail, and there we go. You like that one? It's a pretty easy one. It's an easy wow. All right, so let me bring back all of our projects for today. So we've got 1, 2, and 3. And then I've got some more to share with you because, well, this is a really cute suite. All right, so this is one I posted yesterday. So again, I just took some Stampin' Blends and colored some of the squares on the plaid to add, again, little pops of color to the black and white. And then I had some fun with bold, bright colors. I think these are really fun and funky. So this was one actually from my launch event way back in September. I love the Melon Mambo. Here's one where I actually applied ink to the fa la las at the back, so not the golds, but the black and white. And here's one where I applied lemon lime twist to that fun sort of retro pattern. And then one more in classic black and gold. So there you go. Do you like those? Okay, you like them? Oh, I'm so glad you like them. All right. Let me just see if there's any questions here. Yeah, the black and gold is striking, Arlene. I have to agree. I felt like it was just too, I don't know, I need color for Christmas. So I did one black and gold to show you what they look like, but I do like the color as well. An alcohol white to remove glue from foil. That's a great suggestion, Suzanne. Thank you for that. All right. Any other questions? Yeah, I will find the ornament topper. You're right, Julia. It always happens. It's probably on the floor underneath me right now. Okay. I think we're good. I don't see any additional questions. All right, I'm gonna come back to me. All right, so I am now officially for real done with Christmas products. I am starting with anything but Christmas tomorrow, next week. So it's December next week, and I'm going to be featuring some of our new online exclusive products that launched this month that are still sitting unloved on my desk. And I'm also going to start sneak peeking some new products that are coming in the new mini. So stay tuned. Do I have a card class for this? I do not, Alexina. You are welcome to case any of these projects. If you follow me on either on Facebook or on Instagram, I will post all of these projects throughout the week. You are welcome to case any of them. But if I did a class for each video, I would not sleep. It's a little busy. Thank you for joining me this week, everyone. I hope you enjoy these projects, and I will see you next week for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. Bye for now.